Working in retail is never easy, especially when you have to deal with a bunch of crazies. Welcome to this episode of Tales from Retail. Our first tale is from Kevin MD 1984. Disclaimer, this happened back in 2009 and gave me disdain for retail afterwards. In November of 2008, I was in a relationship that ultimately led to me getting a job at a City Trends in a strip mall. So I worked there. 2 to 3 months later, a customer came in with a black dress and white shoes, and proceeds to try on a white dress and black shoes. I don't question people's style. And I was on fitting room duty, and had stepped away to find an item for a customer. When I came back, a customer needed a fitting room, so I knock and glance to see if anyone is there, and I see the lady's feet that was trying on the dress and shoes, so I go to another fitting room. 5 to 10 minutes later, the lady that was trying on the dress and shoes approached the store manager and she hands her a paper, and the woman leaves. We realized later that she left with the stuff she tried on. 2 to 3 days pass and I'm working that evening, and 2 police officers ask to speak to me. I step outside with them, only to be informed that I've been charged with misdemeanor secret peeping. They served me with papers and I went inside and told my manager, and she tells me that the company will stand behind me and they will contact an attorney. So weeks leading up to the court date, I met with the attorney. We showed them the video from the store and it showed I was on the other side of the store when she was in the fitting room. About a week before the court date, the attorneys were reaching out to me to find out when they'd be getting paid, and I referred them to my district manager. Court date comes. The manager was there, but the district manager wasn't. When it came time to speak to the judge, the attorneys removed themselves from representing me because they hadn't gotten paid. So I'm there with a deer in the headlights look, so I had to ask for a continuance. Thankfully got it. The continued date comes around, everyone's been paid now, and the attorneys didn't submit into evidence the video from the camera in the store. They ultimately ask me to take a deal where I don't plead guilty, but I end up having to do community service, despite not doing anything. Otherwise, I would have had to pay extra for them to fight it. I wasn't making that much already, so I regrettably had to take the deal. We then go to another courtroom to hear this woman that accused me testify and ask the judge to take this predator off the streets, me apparently, and I felt helpless. I ended up having to have that charge expunged afterwards, and I quit not long afterwards. All I can say is what goes around comes around. I really hope this woman doesn't have any children that are falsely accused like she's trying to do, because it can literally ruin someone's life, and I really hope this fucking Karen got hit by a fucking bus. Our next tale is by DNA87. A post I made in another sub had me thinking about my time working at a major UK video game store well over a decade ago, and there's a story from back then that always makes me chuckle, and was one of the most heartwarming things I've ever seen. One year, the big Christmas item was the Nintendo DS Lite with Nintendogs. The console came in blue or pink, with the game packaged with the console. Unlike most big Christmas items, I actually loved this one since we had zero problems with stock. There were literally hundreds of them in the back room, so we never got yelled at by frantic Christmas present hunting parents over it. One morning, an older woman comes in and is browsing looking slightly lost. She eventually walks into the Nintendo section, looks at a note she has written down, and then comes over to the counter to ask for some help. This was par for the course around Christmas. Lots of parents and grandparents with Christmas lists looking befuddled. I go over to the Nintendo section with her and she hands me the note she was looking at. "My daughter says my 16-year-old grandson would like one of these for Christmas. Am I looking at the right thing?" The note said Nintendo DS, so I told her that yes, she was in the right place. She did a little smile and neck swivel at this, obviously proud she'd got it right. We talked about the different options of packages with games, accessories, etc., etc. And she pauses for a minute and then says, "I'm not sure if I should ask this or not. I'm not sure if it's okay to ask." I was 90% sure that she was going to ask for a discount, so I just said that she can ask whatever she likes, and I promised it would be okay. "My grandson has recently turned gay." Okay, not what I was expecting, and that's not really how it works, but she was trying, so bless her. "Does that mean he'd like the pink one?" I've got to admit that I had to work hard to keep a straight face because this caught me completely off guard. I desperately wanted to laugh, but I also didn't want her to be embarrassed. I could tell it was a genuine, earnest question, so she was trying really hard to get something he'd like. I took a second to collect myself and think how to respond. Well, being gay doesn't necessarily mean he likes pink things, but it also doesn't mean he doesn't. Does he have other pink things? "Well, no, but till now he's been pretending to not be gay, so I don't know if he'd have pink things even if he wanted to. And I don't want to assume he'd like the pink one because I think he'd think I'm making fun of him." We had a bit more of a chat and I explained that it's up to her, but whatever she bought, as long as it wasn't opened, could be exchanged for a different one if he wanted to change it. The policy at the time was that anything bought in the run-up to Christmas didn't have the exchange and refund 30 days start until December 26th. She decided to get the black one and have a think about it. "He likes the color black, so I think he'll like this." That afternoon, she comes back in and her grandson is with her. Now, she cannot have been a hair over 5'1". He was 6'2", of gangly teenage metalhead. Long hair, black Slayer t-shirt, ripped jeans, long black leather jacket, and boots. It wasn't far off that photo of The Undertaker with his grandma. They came over to the counter and she asks to exchange the DS for the pink Nintendogs one with a bit of a smile. As they leave, I heard them talking. "Thanks, Nana. Now remember, just because I got you what you're getting doesn't mean you're allowed it before Christmas Day." "I know, Nana." I have to say, this grandma is awesome. She went above and beyond to ensure to ask the right questions and to make sure that she ended up getting her grandson something that he really wanted. And the fact that the exchange policy was there, so that way, if they did need to exchange it like they ended up doing, that's just perfect. And our final tale is from CTax 6051. It was a boring day working at the sports shoe store. We had too many staff on the floor, so no one was making money, and we were all just standing around pretending to clean or fix displays. Our manager rarely came out of the back onto the sales floor, but he could tell that none of us were doing anything by looking at the security cameras. He wanders out just as a customer walks in. We made most of our money from commissions, so everyone stood at attention, ready to help. Our manager decides that since we're all goofing off, he would take the customer. We were all annoyed by that, but what are you gonna do when your salaried manager wants to take some of your commission? The guy asked to try on 4 high-end sports outfits, so the manager sets him up in a changing room. When he came back out, he said he had a bad vibe with this one and to keep an eye out. Guy comes out of the change room and said he didn't want them as he didn't like the fit or fabric. He left the suits in the room, he says, then starts to walk out. I go into the change room and see 2 of them crumpled up on the floor in a pile. I immediately tell my boss 2 of the suits are missing. Now, mind you, we all just had training by the manager on loss prevention and what to do and not to do. We knew the store insurance would cover the loss and never chase or apprehend anyone suspected of theft. The manager was a long-time runner, so he takes off sprinting after the dude. We are all piling over top of each other to get to the front door and watch the chaos ensue. My dumbass manager confronted the guy. The guy is screaming my manager is racist and assumed he was shoplifting because he was black. He kept roaring like a lion in the manager's face. It was bizarre. Manager points out that he can see the store tag sticking out from under his clothes. Dude pulls out a knife and stabs the manager right in a family jewel. My manager goes down like a wet bag of cement, and security finally shows up and has the guy arrested. Manager goes to the hospital and comes away one jewel less. So, lesson learned. Don't chase shoplifters if you value your balls. Of course, we couldn't let it go easily, and our softball team that year was called the Lone Balls. The irony of not practicing what you preach is clearly alive and well with this manager, and I really hope after he lost a nut that he learned his lesson to actually practice what he preaches. And I definitely see why the policy is in place to not confront potential shoplifters. Alright, that's enough stories for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Tales from Retail. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, have a great day and stay safe out there.